Hello, welcome back. This is Softcore Detachment, the podcast for people who are done starting over. I'm Catalina, strength coach, nutrition educator, and today we're stepping away from macros and muscle for a minute because sometimes the thing standing between you and every good habit you're trying to build isn't information. It isn't a better plan. It isn't discipline. It's the fact that your life looks nothing like what you thought it would. And if that's landing for you right now, welcome. You're exactly where you're supposed to be today. Here's the thing about plans. We make them because they give us a sense of control in a world that's fundamentally unpredictable. The relationship, the career, the vision of yourself that you were working toward, that version of you, the life you were building, you had a picture. You could see it. You were moving toward it. And then something changed. Maybe it shattered all at once. Maybe it just quietly stopped making sense over time. Maybe someone made a choice that wasn't yours to make. And now you're standing in the rubble of something you didn't choose and didn't see coming. And now you're here, in the middle of something that doesn't look like what you signed up for. Wondering if you're failing. Wondering when it gets easier. Wondering who you even are on the other side of this. I want to talk about that today because I think we don't talk about it enough. Not honestly. And I'll tell you this right up front, I'm navigating something really hard right now in my own life. Hence the inconsistency in posting. I'm not going to get into the details because that's not what this show is about. And frankly, it's not what you need from me. What I will tell you is that I understand this from the inside right now, not just from the coaching side. And what I know, what I keep coming back to, is that you do the hard work anyway. You keep showing up for yourself. You keep showing up for the people around you, even when it's heavy, especially when it's heavy. So this one's for all of us who are in the thick of it right now. We have language for lots of kind of grief and how we talk about losing someone. We talk about losing a job. There are frameworks, rituals, support systems built around those losses. But we don't have great language for grieving the life you thought you were going to have. The relationship that was supposed to be the one. The career path that made sense until it didn't. The body you had before the injury or the diagnosis or all the babies. The version of your future that you'd already mentally moved into, furnished it, lived it, planned from it, and then had to walk out of. That grief is real. It has weight. It has texture. And one of the most disorienting things about it is that the world doesn't always recognize it as grief. Because nothing died. Because it's complicated. Because from the outside, it might not even look like loss. But you know what it feels like from the inside. And I'm here to tell you, that feeling is legitimate. You don't need to justify it or minimize it or rush through it on anyone else's timeline. What you do need, eventually, or at your own pace, is to stop waiting for that old life to come back. It's not coming back. And the sooner you can grieve it fully and set it down, the sooner you can actually begin what's happening, what's coming next. Here's what I've observed in my clients, in the people I talk to, and in myself about what's actually happened when a life plan falls apart. We get stuck in that holding pattern, waiting to feel stable before we start rebuilding, waiting for the dust to settle, waiting to feel like ourselves again before we do the things that would help us feel like ourselves again. It's a trap, and it's incredibly easy to fall into because it feels like patience. It feels like being realistic. It isn't. It's avoidance, dressed up as wisdom. The other things that can happen, the big one, is what I call identity residue. When your life changes significantly, when a relationship ends, when a chapter closes, when the plan you built around your identity stops existing. There's a version of yourself that was tied to that plan. And sometimes we hold on to that version even after the circumstances that created it are gone. Not because it still fits, but because letting it go feels like losing something else. Like admitting defeat, like agreeing that it's really over. It isn't defeat. It's a molt. It's shedding of a skin. Shedding something that no longer fits so that something more real can grow, more accurate. The caterpillar doesn't fail when it stops being a caterpillar, right? But I bet the process feels pretty disorienting from the inside. And here's the thing about identity that I think gets missed. You are not the plan. You are not the relationship, the job, the circumstance that life was supposed to happen. That's not you. Those things are containers. You are what goes inside of them, right? And when one container breaks, you don't break with it. You just need a new container. The question isn't who you were in the life that you planned. The question is who you actually are right now, independent of all of it. And that question is uncomfortable. It's also one of the most important questions that you'll ever answer. I want to talk about rebuilding because I think we have a distorted idea of what it actually looks like. We want the montage, right? The dramatic pivot, the moment of clarity that changes everything, and then what comes after it. That occasionally happens, but more often rebuilding looks like something much quieter and less cinematic, less Instagrammable. It looks like one small decision, then another and another, done consistently over a long period of time with no guarantee of when it starts to feel like something, when it starts to feel like you. That's actually how all meaningful change works. We talk about this on this show all the time in the context of fitness and nutrition. Progress is not linear, right? It's not dramatic. It compounds quietly, and then one day you look up and realize you're not the same person you were 6 months ago. The same is true of rebuilding a life. What I want you to resist is the idea that you need to have it figured out before you start. Readiness is largely a myth. You don't find your footing and then start moving. You start moving and you find your footing in the process. The ground becomes solid under your feet as you walk, not before. Small decisions compound. One good choice creates the conditions for another. Showing up for yourself in one area, your workouts, your sleep, your nutrition, one honest conversation that you've been avoiding. That creates momentum. That moves into other areas. You don't have to fix everything. You just have to do the next right thing. I love that phrase. And some days the next right thing is just getting out of bed and going to the gym, getting yourself ready for the day, going to work, getting the dishes done, getting that pile of laundry put away. Someday it's just not canceling on the friend you'd say that you were meeting, right, for coffee. Some days it's making a meal that actually nourishes you instead of eating whatever is available. Those things count. They are not small. And in the middle of something hard, they are everything. They're big. Here's what I want you to actually do with this. 1, name the grief. Whatever your version of the unlived life is, say it out loud or write it down. Not to wallow in it, to acknowledge it, to give it a name. Grief that isn't named tends to leak. It leaks out onto everything else. Give it a name. Give it some space. And then when you're ready, give it a timeline. It doesn't have to be rigid. It can be flexible. But an intention to eventually set it down. Number 2, do an identity audit. I love this. Get a piece of paper and answer this question. Who am I that has nothing to do with the plan that changed? What do I value? What do I want? What do I know how to do? What makes me completely independent of the circumstances? That list is your foundation. That is what you build from. It doesn't go away when the plan does. That's you, the foundation. Number 3, find one thing to show up for this week. Your workout. a meal you actually cook, a phone call you've been putting off, the appointment for the doctor that you've been putting off for weeks or months. One thing where you choose yourself, not because it fixes anything, but because the practice of showing up for yourself and keeping that promise, even in small ways, is what keeps you tethered to who you are when everything else is in flux. It's fluctuating. 4, let the grief and the action coexist. You don't have to be okay to move forward. You don't have to have it all together to take one next step. Grief and momentum are not mutually exclusive. You can be sad and still go to the gym. Taylor Swift has a whole song about it. You can be scared and still make the decision. You can be in the middle of something really hard and still be building something exciting. Actually, that might be the only way that it happens. The life that didn't go according to plan is not the end of your story. It's a chapter. It's a chapter where something went unexpectedly. And unexpected doesn't mean wrong or bad. It's uncharted. Uncharted means that you get to decide what it looks like from here. It's terrifying. But if you can sit with it long enough, it's also kind of extraordinary. Strength isn't just physical. Strength is resilience. We say that, on this show a lot, I say it. Resilience is everything. Life is gonna throw you curveballs. Life doesn't go according to plan, but you still need to follow through and say do what you were going to say, right? No, let me try that again. Do what you said you were going to do. There it is. Doing the next best thing when nothing else feels certain. Staying in the work, staying connected to yourself, refusing to disappear in the hard things. That is strength and that is resilience. It's the whole point. I'm not behind. You're not behind. We're not broken. We're just in the thick of it. And we're in the thick of it together. That's what soft core detachment is. We don't do perfect here. We do real. We do strong. And we do it together. Thanks for being here. Tune in next week. We'll keep doing the next best thing.